All right. How y'all doing today? As you can see, I've gotten myself into a little project, working on the auction find F-150. And we got the top part of the intake manifold pulled off, sitting on the bench. And we are going to be deleting the AIR injection system off this thing. Now, these little plugs here, if it'll focus, hold on. Nope, not going to focus, but anyway, these little plugs here got this rake thing that plugs into the top of them that injects air on the first 10 minutes of startup or so till it's warmed up onto the exhaust side of the head. And I don't know, it injects extra air to combat noxious emissions, or so they thought back in 96 whenever this old truck come out. And I'll show you the rake, this rake part. So this here sits on top of the motor like that, and get an air line coming in here from an air pump. And that air pump is right there. You see that hose? So we're gonna take this air pump apart, pull the vanes out of it, grease it up real good, because I'm not going to spend $40 for the aftermarket bracket that lets you delete it and have an idler. The pump's not locked up. We can still use its bearings. That's fine. While I've got the overhanging intake off, we're doing the valve cover gasket because it was leaking a little bit. So I've got one of those. And those air injector plugs go in. You see that hole right there and like right there. They plug in there. So those plugs, I took them and welded them up because I'm not going to go spend 55 cents at the hardware store on plugs, and they're closed today because today's Sunday. So I'm not going to wait till tomorrow to go get some plugs, and I'm not going to drive 40 miles over to the other town to go get them. So we're doing it on the cheap and easy with the old titanium Harbor Freight MIG welder. Worked fine, welded up them plugs. And like I said, we're going to be doing the valve cover gasket. And I broke a couple of those old vacuum lines, see right there. And we're going to try a new trick on those. Usually I use like window washer hose or something to go back together. But I've got this marine grade adhesive heat shrink. And I'm wondering if I can't heat shrink them on there. And since it's got the adhesive, it'll stick. It might hold better than window washer hose. But we'll try that later. I'm just showing y'all what I've gotten into because I got a little stopping point here this morning. You know, I'm not a how-to channel. Don't do what I do. I'm not going to show you how to take it apart and put it back together. That's not what I'm here for. You know, messing with emissions stuff may or may not be legal where you're at. I don't have an emissions guy coming in checking my stuff. So, and this thing's almost 20 years old. Oh, 96. Yeah, it's over almost 30 years old now. So a couple more years, it'll be 30 years old. We're not going to worry about it. Good old farm truck here. And that's how we're going to keep it nice and simple and easy and cheap. And since we got the valve cover off, I'm over here spraying, scrubbing, and spraying again, trying to get some of the grease off of it. It was black. I'm cleaning it up pretty good, you know, 90%, just so I can see new leaks if there are any. But we're scrubbing on that there. And as soon as those plugs cool off and that thing is clean, we're going to start putting this back together. I might show you a little bit of that. I hadn't decided yet, but that's where I'm at this morning. Y'all stick around. We'll see if I make some more footage on this or not. I'll stick it together. We'll see ya. Alright, got these custom welded plugs cleaned up a little bit on the old bench grinders over there. I couldn't show that to you because I ain't got no power here down at my shop. I got to run that noisy ass generator if I want to do anything other than run the lights in my shipping container. My lights run on solar, but clean them up a little bit so they don't hurt the fingers when we screw them in. Didn't bother to clean the threads at all. We're not going to worry about that. But we are going to put some of that lovely aluminum Astroglide on these things. You heard me right, it's the anti-sneeze. And we're going to put that on there just in case I ever decide to pull these out and replace the rake instead of just chucking her out of here, because there's some leaks in that system and it was causing an exhaust leak. And you know, I can delete it for free or I can fix it for a wad of cash, and I need my cash for other stuff. So got those good to go. I know that one right there, I'm curling my finger, looks a little porous, but I double welded these and leak checked them with some put some water down in the other end and blew on them, and none of them leaked. If we got a leak, we should have a nice whistle when we start it up, but we ain't gonna worry about that. Got the final clean done on the valve cover, so we're gonna let it dry and make sure all the water and stuff's out of it, because I've been rinsing it with the hose and whatnot. So we'll make sure all the water's out of that before we put it back on. And no, I'm not gonna put RTV on it. I did actually buy a gasket, so we're going to put a gasket on and put some not RTV, and we'll just zip this all up. But I'm going to get to anti-sneezing these things up. I can't show you that either because I need two hands. One of these days I'll get a tripod or something, and maybe I can show you a little more of the crap I do that you shouldn't do. But for now, that's what we got to work with. Don't do what I do. Cheap and stupid, and I don't like doing shit the right way. So we'll talk to you later. All right, valve cover's back on, 90% clean. We don't want to be 100% on it at all. That's too much expectations to live up to. 90% clean. We got our custom welded plugs inserted into them holes, tightened up. You can see that new valve cover gasket poking out of the side. I did not use RTV, just valve cover gasket. Now I'm going to clean up the intake manifold mating surface on both pieces, get my new intake manifold gasket set on, and we'll start trying to fit all this back together, because it's kind of a pain in the ass getting it on and off without breaking shit. But that's where we're at. Check back in with you. Alright, decided since we got this intake manifold pulled off the truck, it'd be a good time to clean the throttle body, throttle plates and stuff there. So we got our Walmart carburetor and intake cleaner. Also got a can of Berryman, but I've lost the nozzle for it, so I'm gonna have to rob a nozzle if we need it. And yes, I am the only guy that likes the orange Powerade. I think anyway. I'm the only person I've ever seen buy it, but I like it. It's good stuff. But I'll try to show you down in here with a flashlight, but it is pretty hard to get anything to focus. But there's not horrible buildup in there, but we're gonna go ahead and clean it while we've got it off the truck. I've got a screw. It's not screwed down. I just screwed a screw in the table here and set this bolt hole on the bottom of the intake over that so it doesn't fall off and it lets all the shit drain out of it. And then to hold the plates open, I just clipped the vice grip on that actuator right there, and it's got enough weight against the spring to hold it down, and we're good to go. I got like I said, this Walmart cleaner, and I got some little soft bristle brushes here, and we're gonna go to town cleaning on it. Check back in with you. All right, 30-45 minutes fighting with that damn thing to get it on there, and you got to fight with it because this EGR tube right there, you see that donut looking thing, and then that pipe goes like that, and well, Ford had to make it where that pipe drops in between cracks on the intake manifold, and instead of just like looping it around or something easy. And anyway, that was a pain in the ass to get through there without breaking a bunch of shit. And my back's killing me from leaning over, so got my handy dandy Harbor Freight chair, and I'm gonna sit down for a minute. But now we can start hooking stuff up and bolting back together. Yeah, that was the hard part, was fighting that sucker back on there. And boy, man, last week taking it off, I spent a better part of an hour trying to break loose the not this nut, but if you follow that pipe down on the exhaust where it goes in, trying to break that loose without breaking that pipe, because I do want to keep the EGR, that's important. Man, that sucker took like 2 hours of running a torch on it and cooling, heating, cooling, heating, cooling before it broke loose. But it should go back together a little easier. And now that I said that, it just got harder. Trust me. We'll check back in with you. Alright, all the bolts are tight on the main part of the manifold here. And I got the little support bolt up under there again. I need to get a EGR gasket before I bolt that together. I was looking at it, it's kind of falling apart. But my last party trick for the day before I quit working, we're not going to finish this one today, unfortunately. I've got some broken vacuum lines here. And you can see somebody already tried to repair this one and with some window washer hose or traditional vacuum hose, not these hard plastic lines that Ford uses on these trucks. And that one's kind of failed out. And then I got this one right here I broke when I took them apart. It needs to stick back together. And I got one more right here. And I've got the other piece for it laying right here. And it goes on that little vacuum tee also. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to try something different that I thought about. Instead of using the old vacuum tubing like they did on that broken repair, we're going to give a try to this stuff here. This is marine heat shrink. And the thing about this that interests me is it says it has a heat activated adhesive lining. So I'm wondering if we heat this stuff up, if it'll actually stick to it, and it should shrink down and make a good seal and still remain flexible. You know, that stuff looks like this. This is the length they come out of that case. This was like $5 at Harbor Freight, which is fine. I hadn't used it before on this adhesive lining stuff. I've used the cheaper stuff. But we're going to try some pieces of this and heat shrink it down onto those tubes and see what it looks like. I don't have 3 hands, so I can't show you all that, but got my heat gun here. You can get, you can use a lighter. You don't have to have a heat gun. I'm just using that, and we're going to cut a piece of this and join that up and see what it looks like. I'll get back to you. Well, the heat shrink stuff was a fail. It fit well, and it shrunk up, but once it started shrinking, it wanted to pull the 2 broke pieces away and kind of shrink down around the broke end. So didn't work. Lesson learned. If you were going to try it, you don't have to now, because you might know of a different way to do it, but it didn't work for me. So we're going to move on. I've got some old fuel tubing. I didn't have any vacuum tubing in the shop, but this old Tygon fuel tubing's pretty rigid and should be fine for joining these hard plastic lines together. I probably wouldn't use a long run of it, but just for splicing together, she'll be good to go. And we're going to get these spliced up, and then I got to clean all my shit up and call it a day, because the sun's about to set here in about an hour, and I'm just done with it today. My back's killing me after wrestling with this thing bent over. But next weekend, Christmas weekend, maybe I'll have a day to work on it. Not sure yet, but we're going to get her back on the road pretty quick. We'll see you then. All right, we got our splices in. I didn't get enough mouth lubricant on this one here, cram it together good, but it's pretty tight on there. This right here, and then we've got another joint down here, and that should work fine for now. Also replaced a rotten old elbow right there with some fuel line I had laying around. It'll work for now until I get another elbow, but you can see this one is seen better days. But yeah, this old Tygon fuel line stuff fits pretty tight. You just got to give her a little spit shine, if you know what I mean, and cram her together while she's wet, and it'll be all right. But that's pretty much it today. I'm going to clean up my tools, and we got a lot more shit to hook up under here before I fire it up. But that vacuum tree's almost done. I got another line that needs to go somewhere. I got to find it. I took some stuff off and put it in the bed when we was taking it apart. But hope y'all have a wonderful rest of your day. Catch you later. case y'all was wondering about the noise in the background. I got some yard birds running around out here, you know, and they don't cooperate with filming usually. And chickens are pretty loud right now. Sure, most of the time you hear the ducks, but yeah, just in case you were wondering, that's what's up. See you later.